Welcome to So Much Crime, So Little Time. I'm Jeff.
And I'm Dee. And in this episode, we are giving you a sneak peek into some of the content that we have on our Patreon. Patreon.com/So Much Crime, So Little Time.
Before we get to that, Dee, so this is our special 99th episode in advance of our 100th episode.
99 bottles of Patreon on the wall.
But it's not actually our 99th episode. Do you know what episode this one actually is?
Oh, is this a sneaky quiz question of how many bonus episodes have we done?
A little bit, yeah.
Oh, I think we have done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bonus episodes. So I think this is episode 105. Okay, we had Liz Flock. We had Chris Mancini. We had the two guys. I know I should know their names. Ben something or other and other guy. And then we had Connor. Oh, we had your brother-in-law.
Yeah, but those were on regular episodes. Connor and Sean, my brother-in-law, were on regular. See, it's tricky. Also, do you count the last times where we did like these Patreon specials? Does this count technically as an episode? We're counting it as 99, so it better.
Oh, yeah. It is an episode.
All right, then this is actually episode number
103.
108.
What?
Yeah. This is actually our 108th episode.
That is insane.
It's crazy, isn't it? So our 100th episode special is technically our 109th episode special, which isn't all that special, but...
I mean, I feel like maybe stop saying that. It makes it feel less special.
You know what the cool thing about having a podcast is you can call an episode number whatever you want it to be. So welcome to our special 999,999th episode. It's the one before our 1 millionth episode. Dee, let's get into it. So we're going to cover a couple of fun things from our Patreon, some of the most fun things. So we're going to, like I said, these are going to be some of our people's favorite things from our Patreon. First thing, we're going to jump way back to when we did the Doorstep Murder, which was episode number 89 by our official tally, or 8,999. Doesn't matter. It's all made up.
You need to stop. Yeah, no, you need to
stop doing that. Okay. Do you remember the number one song on the charts from the time of the Doorstep Murder?
Have you got some lyrics for me there?
Well, I do remember that the chorus. Who can even say? All I can say is you should drop it like it's hot. Let's let everyone listen to some of the outtakes, including you giving me a whole lot of grief over not choosing that as my flat read from the Doorstep Murder. Here are some outtakes.
It was... Enjoy. What a miss on your part. I got the rollie on my arm and I'm pouring Shandon and I roll the best weed because I got it going on. This would have been so good.
I didn't even look it up because I just figured it was going to be too easy. Also, you've given me so much shit about not doing the number one song. I'm doing the number one song. I've been on that.
The one time you choose My Boo over doing Drop It Like It's Hot.
You know, it's Usher and Alicia Keys. You know Usher.
SNOOPDOGG. I can't fake it. Just break it.
I apologize for not doing
man.
Snoop Dogg. I feel like I watched a couple episodes of Sex and the City when I was 14 or whatever. And I was like, oh, this isn't the show I thought it was. It's like these women having lunch and talking about fashion.
Yeah.
It's not what I was 14-year-old
It's not what it says on the tin.
Was hoping for.
Can't laugh when we're talking about murder.
She described how Alistair gets shot gangland style, as she puts it, twice. She gets shot twice in the head.
I
once
wish
in the chest.
I didn't like the phrasing either, because it makes me think of the song Gangnam Style.
Oh,
that's what happens in my head.
no.
I know. I'm just letting you know. I'm just saying my outside thoughts in. No, inside thoughts out.
I'm going to take this to a dorkier place.
Okay. Go. I will say there's a review on Reddit that basically says Fiona Walker made a very good podcast that summarizes all the facts. Oh, that went very posh. That summarizes all the facts without indulging in the silliness or I don't know how to pronounce that word.
What's the word?
Prurience?
Prurient. That's not a word I use, but I know it.
P-R-U-R-I-E-N-C-E.
That's a hard word to say.
That's why I paused. Okay. Hold on. Let me get a synonym here so that we can proceed without that word having to come out of my mouth. Excessive or unhealthy interest in sexual desire or lewdness. That's not what I thought it was. Okay. Salacious. Okay.
I don't know if they were using that correctly.
Yeah. Okay. Indulging in the silliness or salaciousness of most true crime podcasts.
All right, Dee. So we just listened to those outtakes from Doorstep Murder. Do you know how to say that word yet? Like, do you remember? Starts with a P.
No. Like, it's not a word I need to know. I can't even remember what it means.
Prurience.
What does it even mean? It's like a cat. Prurience. It's not something I need in my life. Oh yeah, okay. I remember what it means now.
Can you say it?
No, it just doesn't feel like I need to know how to say it. It also feels like someone was joking when they were coming up with this.
The word prurience?
Like they were trying to be like a cat, and they're like, "Ooh, let's make it like catty," or something.
That'd be prurience, not prurience.
You need to stop saying the word. It's losing all meaning. It never had meaning, but now it's like completely lost. Okay, we should move on. Okay, next up, we're gonna jump into an extended time machine from our preview episode on Who Killed Jennifer Judd. So we've got some very interesting bits of chatter between myself and Jeff, talking about some news that you may or may not know about, some interesting movies, and a really in-depth analysis of McDonald's and why it is that some people like the fish fillet and why it is that some people won't even try a Big Mac. Plus, obviously, more banter.
Enjoy.
So this crime happened on May 11th, 1992. Obviously, there's a lot in this. It's very dark, very serious. Jennifer Judd obviously lost her life. But before we jump into that kind of dark and serious side of May 11th, 1992, we wanted to bring a bit of levity to our conversation and go into the time machine to talk some pop culture with Jeff. Now, warning, Jeff is real excited about this because he was like peak teenager years. Is that what's happening with you at this stage in your life?
This year I was like 12, 13? 12, 13.
Okay.
Yeah.
Me, on the other hand, I was like 3.5. So I don't know. I wasn't as excited, although as I look through the movies, I was like, I know some of these. This is good. Okay.
Can I start with just some table setting trivia news events?
Go on.
Okay.
I've been dying to get into this.
I have trivia for you. These are all phrased as questions, and I recognize that you were 3.5 years old and in Ireland, but these are questions about some major events that were dominating the news in America in May of 1992.
Do you remember them as a 12-year-old, or do you remember them having learned about them since being a 12-year-old.
Oh no, I remember that. And part of this is because, and I know this is a hard thing for maybe you to conceptualize, but this was a time where people were still basically all tuned into the same news. This is pre-internet. This is, I mean, there was cable, but
I was 4.5. Sorry.
okay.
Good
So you
job.
should definitely get these.
We did a really bad maths there.
All right, you ready?
Yep.
It's a mix of serious ones and goofy ones. Starting serious.
Okay.
All right. At the end of April, beginning of May 1992, there were riots, major riots in Los Angeles following the acquittal of LAPD officers where there was a videotape of them beating someone. Who was that person?
I have no idea.
Rodney King. The Rodney King tape and trial. No?
I mean, I remember the LA riots, and I remember it was because the police did something that they were not supposed to do, but I don't know. What did Rodney... bad question to ask. Oh, I was going to say, what did Rodney King do, but I presume he was beaten because he was black.
Yeah, driving while black. But the unique thing was this was caught on video, which was one of the first times that this happened.
Who had the video? Like, presumably they didn't have like a recorder on the cops.
No, it was a bystander. Weird fact about
like
this.
A video recorder? That's wild, because even that is like wild at the time, no?
People had camcorders and things, like VHS camcorders and things back then.
I know, but they weren't probably walking around with them.
But random
I suppose
thing.
It's LA. Everyone's trying to make a movie.
Well, okay. On that, random thing that was happening on that same street or within very close proximity, James Cameron was filming Terminator 2 with Arnold Schwarzenegger right by this when this was happening.
It.
Yeah, that night that this was
wild.
happening. Yeah. Okay, next one. May 9th. After 180 episodes, this show aired its last episode. It's one of the only shows where all 4 stars won Emmys. Those stars, just jump in whenever you get this. Those 4 stars were Estelle Getty, Rue McClanahan, B. Arthur, and Betty White.
I don't know. There was a few shows that came to mind, and then you said Betty White, and I was like, she wasn't in that.
It's about 4 older women.
Oh. I have words that are going to come out of my mouth, and they might be embarrassingly wrong. Steel Magnolias?
No. Although it's a metal followed by another word. It is a 2-word title. Different metal.
Iron.
Not iron.
Platinum.
No, think more valuable.
Gold.
Gold. Yeah. Golden.
Golden Girls?
Golden Girls. There it is. Okay. All right. Next up.
Steel Magnolias was 1989. It wasn't that far off.
Also a
Oh,
movie.
Julia Roberts. Oh, great
Not a
movie.
TV show.
Oh.
Okay.
All right.
All right. May 19th.
How could I know the difference when I'm 4.5, Jeff?
I don't know why you weren't
It's
watching
all
Golden
TV
Girls.
to me.
Great show. Holds up really well. May 19th.
Was that sarcastic? Does it actually hold up?
Yeah, it
pretty
does. It's really funny. I actually just watching a clip of it randomly on Instagram the other night. May 19th. 17-year-old Amy Fisher shoots Mary Jo Buttafuoco in the face in an altercation over an affair that Amy was having with Mary Jo's husband in Massapequa, New York. The husband, Joey Buttafuoco, initiated the affair when Amy was very much underage.
Ooh.
What was Amy Fisher known as? What was her nickname?
She shot the wife in the face.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was 17 years old.
What was her nickname? Is it something to do with shooting someone in the face?
No, it's more about where they were, as well as a reference to an underage girl in an affair with an older man.
Oh. I was going to say Mrs. Robinson, but that's like the opposite.
That's a flip, yeah.
Yeah, it's a flip.
It's based on a book,
I don't know.
Long Island Lolita. This is going great.
I mean, I was 4.5.
All right.
I was so young, I didn't even remember how old I was.
You're going to get one of these next ones. There's 2 more.
He says, hoping.
I don't think you're going to get this next one, but you're going to get the one after that. But I'm going to do this next one anyway. All right.
Okay.
May 19th, the U.S. vice president was a guy named Dan Quayle.
Like the bird?
He made news for attacking a fictional TV character who he criticized because she was a single mother and a poor example of family values. So the question is, who was that character? It was a title character for a show that ran for 247 episodes. Then they revived it in 2018 for 13 more episodes. The star was Candice Bergen, who played a journalist and TV news anchor. I know you're going to get this. It's Murphy Brown. Okay. This one I think you get. This is going as I expected. All right.
Like with that one, like whatever about Steel Magnolias, with that one I was like, I don't even have any guesses.
I thought you'd get the Golden Girls one. Betty White.
I mean, I got Steel Magnolias. That was close.
All right, last one. May 19th, same day as the Dan Quayle thing. The debut album by this musical artist came out. It was a country pop album. He would go on to be the father of one of the biggest pop stars in the world. But he had a massive hit.
Billy Ray Cyrus?
That's it. What was his song on that album?
His big hit?
Mm-hmm. He had one giant hit.
I feel like she sang it at one point when they were still friends.
Probably. It's real annoying. Hated the song.
I don't know.
Achy Breaky Heart. But yeah, Billy Ray Cyrus.
Oh, God.
Father of Miley Cyrus.
So I have some movies that all came out in May of 1992.
Okay. In where? In Ireland?
In America.
Okay.
Okay, I'm going to try something different. I have like the synopsis in front of me and I'm going to say random words of the synopsis because you did say you knew the movies that came out around then.
I think
we can
so.
do random words.
Okay.
And we'll see how many random words it takes for you to get it.
Okay.
Okay. I'm going to start with an easy one because arguably fantastic movie. I feel like you'll know it. Okay. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm going to count them. Bernard. Henchman.
What was the first word?
Bernard.
You spell
Word.
that?
Bernard. Is that how you would say it?
Yes.
Bernard. Bernard.
Henchman.
Henchman. Attention. Family. Vet.
Is it Beethoven?
Yeah. Good job. I feel like you should have got it when I had to re-say Bernard.
Henchman threw me off. I don't remember that movie.
Oh my God, what?
It's possible I have not seen that movie since 1992.
There's a local vet. The vet uses his henchman to steal the dog.
Wow. Okay.
God, I thought you would have loved that movie. Okay.
I don't think I saw it a second time.
Some of these, like, I don't know. Okay, I'm going to do another one. Definitely going to get this one. You have to beat 5.
Okay.
Motown. Refuge. Mob. Identity.
Wait. Motown. Refuge. Mob.
Identity.
Motown.
Choir.
Sister Act.
Yes.
Oh. Is that... Wait. Oh. Okay. All right. This is tricky. This is a tricky way to do this.
I mean, you're getting it in 5, which is good. Okay. I'm only using the like synopsis in front of me.
Okay.
Trying to like bring in some knowledge I have of these things. Okay. Pursue. Ammunition. Gangs. Police. Guns.
Wait. Pursue, ammunition, gangs, police, guns?
Guns. LAPD. Former. Retired. I don't know.
Is it Lethal Weapon?
Yeah, which one?
3?
Yep. Good hustle. That took 7 though.
Yeah, all right.
Okay.
That's... Whew.
Oh, okay. This is going to be tricky. Okay. Crash. Security. Visitor. Ellen.
Ellen? Like the first name Ellen?
Prison. Did I say that one already?
Prison. No.
Unwelcome.
Unwelcome. Wait, start from the beginning again.
I can't. I haven't got them written down, Jeff. I'll try. Okay. Crash. Visitor, prison, Ellen, unwelcome, discovers, LV426,
LV426? I have no idea what this is.
returning, Ripley.
Alien 3.
Yeah. What gave it away?
Well, Ripley did, but wait, go. Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. That was a weird way of describing Alien 3.
Do you want me to read the full thing?
No, it's not a good movie. I have seen that movie several times, but it's,
Okay.
yeah.
You did pretty well.
I mean, I got what? Several out of most?
Several out of most is
Yeah.
accurate. Yeah.
All right. Can I do a fly read?
Go for it.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So first of all, I want to say the charts for early May 1992, and I'm not just being biased by the fact that I was 12 or 13 years old and super into music, although I'm totally being biased by that. But I think they were great. Some of the songs that I'm not going to do a flat read of, but were in the top of the charts were En Vogue's My Lovin', The Chili Peppers' Under the Bridge, U2.
Oh, I love that
It's a
song.
great song. U2 One. Weird Al, Smells Like Nirvana, as well as Nirvana, Come As You Are. Okay. But I'm going to do this one that was the number one song this week in 1992. This is by, I'm going to give you some clues. This was produced by Jermaine Dupri.
Don't know who that is.
Okay. This duo opened for Michael Jackson on the European leg of his Dangerous tour. Dangerous was also out. That's the time like this was. It is a duo from Atlanta, Georgia, made up of two 13-year-old boys. And it goes like this.
Are you waiting to see if I figured it out from that one?
I don't think if you didn't figure it out with that, I don't think you're going to get this. But I'm going to read it because this is goofy. Don't try to compare us to another bad little fad. I'm the Mac, and I'm bad. Give you something that you never had. I'll make you bump, hump, wiggle, and shake your rump. Because I'll be kicking the flavor that makes you wanna blank. How high? Real high, because I'm just so fly. A young, lovable...
Jump around. Jump around. No?
It is
Is the name of the song Jump?
It is Jump, but Jump Around is a different song. Any idea who this is? It gets more fun as I keep going.
Jump it up.
How high, real high, because I'm just so fly. A young, lovable, huggable type of guy. And everything is to the back with a little slack, because inside out, it's wiggida, 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 whack. It's Crisscross. That's the name of the band. Crisscross.
Applesauce.
They would wear...
I got Jump.
You did get Jump. They would wear their pants backwards. That was the fashion trend, which became a fashion trend. The stupidest, most impractical fashion trend for a while to wear your pants backwards.
Can imagine.
It was idiotic. Anyway. All right. That was my song. I have one more thing. Do you have anything else?
Yeah. Nope.
Okay. I went to TripAdvisor to look up the top restaurants. So this crime happened in Baxter Springs, Kansas, which is a very tiny town on the border of Oklahoma. And there aren't a lot of...
Oklahoma. Did I ever tell you that every time I hear the state Oklahoma, I go into song? No? Because we did it for a school musical when I was like maybe 8. Because I wasn't in it. I wasn't allowed to be in it.
All right. Well, this is Kansas. Did you ever do The Wizard of Oz?
No.
Okay.
I feel like you didn't appreciate my Oklahoma story, though.
Yep.
Like, literally, you know how often I hear Oklahoma. You know how often I hear the name of states. And every time I hear it in work, my brain goes, Oklahoma till the wind, down the rain.
The musical you were not in, but were in?
Yeah. Wasn't in.
Okay.
Went to see it. My brother was in it.
The story gets further and further from you the more we go.
I know, but it's stuck in my head. That's the part that's me.
All right. I have a review
Sorry.
of the number 8 restaurant out of the 17 restaurants that are listed on TripAdvisor for Baxter Springs, Kansas. That restaurant you may have heard of. It's McDonald's. McDonald's is the 8th highest rated restaurant in Baxter Springs, Kansas. And I really want to share this as just an experience because I feel like this is a short little journey into someone's life in Baxter Springs, Kansas. That's going to make you feel things. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So this is by Alana K. This was posted on July 1st, 2015. It's a 2-star review. And the title is Tired and Hungry, Deleted Food from Order, Ate Snack Bar. Some spoilers in that title.
Hold on a second. Deleted food from order?
Yeah.
How'd you delete your food from your order when you're in 1992? You ain't got no app.
This review was from 2015.
Oh.
That was an important piece of information.
Because of course it is. Because TripAdvisor didn't exist in 1992.
No.
Sorry. I think I fell asleep momentarily.
All right, this is a short one. You ready?
Yeah, I swear, I'm awake.
You going to make it?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Ordered 1 sweet tea, 2 milks, and 1 fish fillet in drive-thru. Ordered corrected.
That was always my dad's order. It was like a black coffee and a fish fillet. And I never, it's hard to meet people who would have ordered a fish fillet. And calling it a fillet in McDonald's feels wrong. But anyway, sorry.
Okay.
Sorry.
1 sweet tea, 2 milks, 1 fish fillet in drive-thru. Order corrected with what was on screen. Orderer changed and still got wrong. Rechanged order and said she would have it at the window. Paid for order. No clarification of order. At pickup window, received 3 drinks and no food. Pulled forward to check receipt. Fish sandwich removed. Returned to drive-thru and it was busy. Frustrated with experience. Left foodless and ate snack bar in car. What a day this person had.
Why did they just get out of their car and go in and be like, here, you gave me the wrong order in there? Although, maybe there was a kid in the car. I don't know. But this seems...
Well, let me ask you this. Why would you order 1 sweet tea, 2 milks, and a fish fillet sandwich?
Where are the fries?
If you had a kid in the car, you would get a Happy Meal. You would get fries. You would get chicken nuggets.
That's true.
Are you sitting there drinking 3 drinks, including 2 milks? Do you drink milk with a fish fillet sandwich?
But was the milk not like the little milks for the tea?
Doesn't say. I appreciate the concision in this person's writing. It's short sentences to the point, but they ended up eating a snack bar.
I don't think I've ever heard the term concision before.
I'm just saying.
I've heard concise.
This person was tired and hungry.
Precision.
They didn't get their fish fillet, and they ate a snack bar with their 2 milks and 1 sweet tea.
Yeah, but have you ever been sitting waiting for your fish fillet and then you don't get it and then you're like, you know what? I'm just angry now.
To be honest, I've never gotten a fish fillet from McDonald's.
Why would you? When there's a Big Mac on that menu, why would you order a fish fillet?
I've never
It makes no sense.
gotten a Big Mac in my life.
What is your McDonald's order?
When I used to go to McDonald's, I would get back in the day, I would get the value meal with the 2 cheeseburgers.
What's your problem with McDonald's?
More recently, when I've gone, which is pretty rare, I get a spicy chicken sandwich.
Do you have ethical issues with McDonald's?
I find their burgers dry and uninteresting.
That's, you know why that is?
Why?
I'm going to tell you why. Because you've never had a Big Mac.
Okay. But the Big Mac has an extra bun in it. And their bread is dry and flavorless. Why would you want that?
Jeff, get a Big Mac and then we can talk.
All right. That'll be my homework.
Okay.
All right.
Indeed.
That was our time machine for today. What a time it was.
Thanks so much for listening into that. Now, I really want people to message in. Can you tell us, have you had a Big Mac before or are you a fan of the fish au filet?
Can I just say...
We should get a poll going.
Since we recorded that, however long ago that was, I have yet to go to McDonald's and try the Big Mac, but it is still on my list. So I'll get there one day.
It's not something to brag about. It's not something to brag about.
I feel like I should try. I feel like as an American, I should have a Big Mac at some point. It's my civic duty, and I've so far failed.
I mean, there's worse things you could be doing as an American right now, to be fair.
All right, let's jump to something.
We don't need to get so political, but
Sure. So when we talked about Stakeknife, the one about the IRA, way back at the beginning of 2025, it was a long discussion, and we had to cut some things. And so this next clip is one clip from that didn't make it into the episode. So if you listen to our Stakeknife episodes, here is something completely new to you, where we talk about some things that we just didn't have time for in the main episode. In In episode 2, when Seamus Carney goes to the site where his brother was killed, and there's that garage that they stumble across that's near the site of the murder, and there's the owner who remembered like
Oh
the
my
date that
God.
it happened.
I know.
And
I
this-
love that you say the garage, like for the Irish people, it's the petrol station. And they were calling it the station. You were probably like, the station? Like the train station?
Whatever you
Um,
call it, that this was a murder that happened in 1979,
Yeah.
and they're talking to him probably 40 something years later, and this guy's like, oh yeah, that one that happened in July, like whatever, like he knew like basically the date and exactly where it happened.
Gave
That
him a bit
kind
of a hiding.
Yeah,
He said that to him. Gave him a bit of a hiding.
yeah.
Also on that note, then when they actually when they walk to where Mick was executed, and his brother he says like, do you mind if I say a prayer? And he says the Ornyaher, which I just thought was so like, I think I texted you at that point being like, do you know what this prayer is?
And I
You
said
were
no.
like, I do not. Like the Our
Do I
Father,
explain?
which you do know now when I say it's the Our Father.
Yes, I am
Yeah.
familiar.
So Ornyaher is obviously the Irish version. They have an absolute bop of the Ornyaher, like a song version. That is like imprinted in my brain.
Okay.
It was so, I can't use the word powerful again. It was so emotional. The grief that he was feeling at that moment, having found the spot, the fact that he thought it was somewhere else, but it was, this guy's Mark Horgan, isn't it? It was the host, Mark, that was like, no, like in the background is this like petrol station or whatever, like this is where it is. It was so emotional, hearing him like pray and like nearly break down at this spot. And
Yeah.
I don't know, all of those bits like being left in. I'd love to ask Mark Horgan if the families got like the people that were in the podcast, did they get to listen to like their episode ahead of time?
That's interesting. I imagine people wouldn't necessarily want to listen to this if they were involved. That's probably, mileage varies by person. I don't know.
I don't know. I would feel like maybe they would want to know how respectful they were. Like, they're trusting that he's going to be respectful, but like, how do they know he won't like make it salacious and like cut it
Sure.
in a way that like dramatizes or like demonizes anyone in particular?
One other thing I wanted to ask about was in the episode about Kevin Quayle with the kids, Kevin Jr. and Orla, I forget which one of us, Kevin or Orla, said that Derry is the mental health capital of Ireland.
Yeah.
Had you heard that
Yeah.
before?
No, I didn't, but I heard her say too many men go off the bridge.
Yeah. Oh, and then maybe the last thing I had for my notes was this Operation Canova. Had you heard of this before?
No, actually I hadn't.
So, I mean, it seems like, so this was basically investigating these murders, and this was in like the 20-teens, I think.
Seemingly opening up all of the documentation to the families, not to the families, to Canova, so that they could find out who was behind these murders.
Well, the key word in what you said is seemingly, because it sounds like, turns out there's certainly people in England who don't want to share everything that they have and aren't willing. Shocking. Yeah.
And finally, we've got Fire Escape. This is a bonus clip that there's some bonus clips that we couldn't keep in our preview or full recap episodes. So if you listened to those episodes, we've got some brand new content here. And here are a few pieces that didn't make it in. Let us know what you make of them. It is really interesting to hear about the firefighters inside a woman's prison. Like, that is an interesting story. If this is how they've decided to tell it, I'll be pissed off, because I want to hear that story. And there's a version of that story and there's a format of the story that I am like, yes, tell me it. I will eat it up. I think it's fascinating. I think it's a really unique spin on things. Let's just hope that this is a start, like purposefully annoying start to a very good podcast.
But let me ask you this. A story about what it's like to be a prisoner who's also a firefighter. So you're sort of the consider the worst of society, the person we lock up some of your time, and then you're the greatest hero of society some of your time. And that split is, I think, fascinating topic for a story. But by default, the people who they tell that story about are criminals, unless they were to find someone who is wrongly convicted. We've heard some wrongly convicted stories, but, you know, most of them, hopefully, I guess that's a weird thing to say, are criminals. And so presumed not just Amika, but the other people on her firefighting crew did horrible things to end up in prison, or were a part of horrible things, or in horrible situations, or like, there's lots of reasons why people end up in prison, sometimes through no fault of their own. But what we know here is she did something that seems to be through her own fault. Do you think you would have had more sympathy or empathy for the story if her crime was different?
Maybe. I honestly, and this is why I said it at the start, but I was asking at the start to you when you were talking about the newness. Like, I honestly am wondering whether it's the production and it's the chopping and it's the editing of the production that is making this seem like Amika is pretty narcissistic and all about herself. The story is all, oh, woe is me, my family, blah, blah, blah. There's mention of the victim's family. It just feels very, I'm the victim and I'm the only victim kind of a story. And I feel like if it's a case that they want to tell this amazing story about criminals who are fighting also like firefighters, as you said, like heroes above, on the other side of the wall, there's a way to tell that story without it being as frustrating as this.
Yeah, I'm here for a story about
like why
firefighters.
isn't like the but why isn't it like put up on a pedestal? Like, why isn't the question put out there? Like, how do you think you would feel about the person coming to save you being a firefighter? Maybe that's what they were trying to do with the opening. Maybe, and the opening was pretty interesting. But then they pull it back into this all like victim. I don't know. It just felt so confusing to me. I feel like there was a way to do this that was much more balanced.
Well,
I don't know.
And actually, and maybe we should come back to this in the recap, but imagine if that opening, instead of her coming to a scene of an accident and talking about pulling bodies that were killed in a car accident, but kind of going deeper into how there's a story there about someone who is sort of has to face the crime they committed as their job while they're in prison, and like face it every day.
And that's what they were trying to do. Maybe that's what that opening was. And as I said, like, I quite liked the opening, but it was the rest of it I had that problem with, because I just felt that they were trying to portray complete victim story and they were not focused on the crime.
Yeah.
And we can feel empathy for a prisoner. We can feel empathy for a mother. But I feel like the producers and I feel like the journalists in this case also have the responsibility to bring the victim in here and not try to steamroll the victim.
Yeah.
By saying, oh, but look, she was so good when she was in prison fighting fires. Fuck that. If that was my dad that was killed, fuck that, I would say. Honestly.
And again, I know I have sort of personal baggage here, but so do a lot of people. Like, a lot of people have been hit by drunk drivers, by reckless drivers. Like, it happens every day. And I don't know. I have a lot of empathy for the victims here. We're going to find out more. We're going to keep listening. We're going to see where this goes.
I'm not like excited to listen to episode 2. I'm going to put that out there. Because I'm a little bit nervous that it's going to continue along these lines, and I just found it really hard to listen to.
But you listened to it
I'm intrigued by the premise of it. Yeah, I was like, is it me? Was I having a bad day? But like, do I feel like that? Is that my real feelings? Questioning my inner vibes.
The good news is there's only about 2.5
I went
more
on a
hours.
full journey. The other thing, just because you kind of brought it up there, I wanted to check in with you on is like, you mentioned how Blossom like wanted to be involved in this, etc. Did the absence of the other kids from the pod, like, or from the podcast, like, what do you think that tells us? Or is it just a case of they wanted their own space, they didn't want to be involved? Do you think?
I hadn't thought about that. I guess in a way it would have been nice to hear from them. I don't know that we needed to. Like, I feel like Blossom was a representative example. She was the youngest of the three. I mean, Amika went on and had another kid later, but at the time that she was in prison, Blossom was the youngest. So I think she was, in a way, the most affected, because I think the oldest one, by the time that Amika got out, was out of the house, right? Like, was in their 20s. So I feel like the impact was probably strongest on Blossom.
Mm.
Did you want to hear from the other ones?
It's just something I noted. Like, we heard from Blossom like quite a bit, and maybe it is a case that like their relationship was much more like, you know, she was still a child and they had to like get to know each other. Whereas the others, I don't know how Amika's relationship is with the others.
Yeah, because the oldest was a teenager when she went to prison.
Yeah.
So that kid knew her a lot more, had a lot more time with her before. Probably had a very different relationship with her.
Yeah. They're kind of blowing smoke, like it's kind of like, oh yes, we do this, but under the layers.
Yeah, that's a word for that.
It's not. There is a word. You're supposed to know all the words.
I know. I only know so many words.
I bring the fun and the energy. You bring the words. This is what we're supposed to do. Okay. Anyway. I also, you know, like with the production, have you ever seen Big Little Lies?
Mm-mm.
Have you not?
Sean Nicole, I think, watched it.
Oh, you should have watched it with her. It's so good.
Was it a book?
But this music, it was, yeah, and it was turned into a show. It was like based in Monterey. Like the book was, and Nicole Kidman. The book and
oh, was Adam Scott in it?
Zoe Kravitz.
I watched parts of this.
So the book was based in Australia, but then it was moved. It was like Monterey, Carmel kind of area. Anyway, that the show was set in. But the music in this podcast really reminded me of it. Like, it was very like moody, like a very like Big Little Lies-esque, like being like, ooh, like at these different points. I was like, for me, it's a little bit like too HBO. Not what I would have gone for, to be honest. But
there are a couple things I didn't get talked
we didn't
about.
talk about Jose. Yeah. Jose.
I kind of don't want to.
Oh, really?
I kind of like that he was very tangential to the story.
Well, this is the thing I had to say was like, he's not in the pod himself, but he comes across really well. And my question was more like, do you think he comes across really well because we don't know what he did? Which is like kind of maybe a harsh question.
I think that's a harsh question, but I think it's a fair question. There's a whole other podcast about people's relationships there's people who have relationships with people when they're on the inside, with people who are on the outside. There's people who have relationships with somebody else. They're both in prison in different prisons. There's people whose relationships had pre-existing relationships before they went in, which is the case here. They
weren't in a relationship before they went in.
They were.
Oh, they were. And then he ended up in prison too.
Yes. What's the story there?
That's what I'm saying, though.
I don't know. It was also, I'm glad we got to hear about the birth experience, which, again, was very humanizing for Amika. Like, that was hearing who she was.
I mean, that birth experience and also the death of her mother, those two, like, yeah.
Her mother also.
I thought they were both done really well.
Yeah, her mother, I looked up a little bit about her. I mean, there's a really good article about her when she passed away from the SF Gate that we can link to. So Joni Blank is her name. And like she really seems like an amazing human who did a lot of good work for women.
I do have to say, but going back to Blossom, which is where we started, there was a comment that Amika made saying, I had to give her the opportunity to be at the birth and the death. Really?
Oh,
did you?
That was a very like, I feel like that was the most like Bay Area. It seemed the type of thing that my limited understanding of Joni Blank and that sort of culture that she's from, like that fit.
I do actually, sorry, on the death thing, wasn't it like, I never thought about the fact that because her mother had decided, Joni Blank had decided to allow herself to die and not seek treatment, that she wanted to make sure everyone was aware that that was her choice and that everything was sorted out so there would be no question over a felon being there with her. And I was like, whoa.
Well, and that's actually one of the other things I had righteous indignation about. The fact that Amika, and again, I feel like we don't know enough about what Amika's life was like before she went to prison. But so she got 2 strikes out of her 3 strikes for that one crime. And we've said this before. It's a horrific crime. She killed someone. She was high on drugs. She ran a red light. She killed someone. That is very, very bad. But the fact that she then has 2 strikes, I didn't know a more eloquent way to say that. The fact that she has 2 strikes and now 1 more strike and she just gets an automatic life sentence. Like to live with that hanging over your head for the rest of your days, when we know people can get caught up in things that aren't their fault. It seems like a terrible way to live. All right, if you enjoyed listening to these extended time machine, the outtakes, the bonus clips from a couple of episodes, know that you can get that for pretty much every episode, every week on Patreon. So just go to patreon.com/so-much-crime, so little time and check it out. There's also news about the show. Sometimes we give updates on stories we've covered in the past. We also talk about things we're going to cover in the future. There's a whole bunch more stuff. You can go look at it. You can sign up for free or decide you want to give us a little money and support us making this show. We really appreciate it.
And you'll get to hear Jeff say prurians more as well, which is
prurians.
Thank you all and see you on the next one. So Much Crime, So Little Time is a production of MimeGov Media. The executive producer is Paxton Calariso. Our associate producer is Blythe Ty. Theme music was composed by Vyacheslav Starostin. If you haven't done it yet, please subscribe to this show in your podcast app. Don't forget to give us a 5-star rating and a review. Even better, tell your friends. To join the discussion, look for us on social media. Check out the show notes for all the links. Thanks for listening.